A very blessed day, everyone. Greetings to you in the name of the Father, the Creator, Allah Most High, Yod He Va'u He, Elohim, God in our modern day name, and in the name of the Lord, Thoth, Melchizedek, Jehovah. This is Neophyte DAG bringing you another very, very important message. It's called Change Your Name, Collect Your Riches at the Bank of Heaven on earth. Thou art rich, O children of Jacob, children of Israel. In this message, we always concentrated on 2012 is actually 2022 and vice versa. But we know that 2012, there was a promise of a phenomenon happening where we're changing over from darkness to light. And in using the arts, we were able to determine that there was a 10-year mistake, they call it, but a 10-year change in law and time to push us off from the right prophetic dates. And that's where the arts came in and help us to get back on track with the date. Art, knowledge, wisdom, and understanding from experience, study, observation, and now that we've gotten the Holy Spirit back, that's where all knowledge of knowledge resides, in the Akashic records, which the Holy Spirit connect you with, and you can know all knowledge of knowledge once you've made yourself ready and have done some studying to show yourself approved. And the art is back with all the people of the covenant, the dark-skinned melanated people of the house of Jacob, who are now transitioning themselves to the house of Israel. Because they shall be afflicted for 400 years, and they were afflicted from 1619 to 2013 when you're using the arts, to 2019 when you're using the literal meaning of it. But that nation that did the afflicting, not nations, nation, one nation, shall now be judged. And that's where the time of the zeitgeist comes in, where it tells you 2022 to 2026 shall be that severe judgment period, where there'll be a transition from darkness to spiritual awakening. Those who want to hold on to darkness, catastrophic events will be there to aid them in that process. And those who want to move to spiritual righteousness shall reap light. Again, 10-year mistake. They call it mistake. They're being very generous. I call it 10-year changing of law and time. Read seal portion 68, verse 55. And verse 57, it tells you about the 10-year change in your calendar. The Mayan phenomenon, 2012 is actually 2022. Now is where the changes are happening. Back in 2012 that they gave you, nothing was happening. But now, can you dispute there's something happening to change it from one time to another? Look around you. How many early cataclysmic events have you seen occur? You have a virus that no one can control. They're up to probably about 6 boosters now. Volcanoes erupting all over the world. Underwater volcano, above water volcano, earthquake, snow, rain, all kind of different things are happening. Even visions of other stars in the sky, crafts in the sky, all kind of things happening. There's a switchover going on. That's the zeitgeist time you're in. 2022 to 2026, a whole lot of things are going to be happening. 2022 marks the start of that time where it will get severe. Now, let's talk about your name change. Because in order for you to move from that darkness which you were in to the time of light, if you want to embrace light, that spiritual awakening, then you have to change your name. Your name has to be changed. You have to get a new name, a new image, a new spirit to go along with it. We go to 3 Nephi 15 verse 22 to talk about some of that name change that you have to take on. Because you don't understand that you are the people of the book. And I have to demonstrate to you and remind you constantly, you are the people of the Bible. Whether you're talking about the Holy Bible or the Book of Mormon or any other Bible that you can think of, you are the people of the book. You are the people of the covenant. And my dark-skinned, melanated people, the black people, especially the ones in America, because you are the catalyst for all these things spiritual to occur. It starts with you and none other. And you understood not that it was supposed to be you and not the Gentiles. They understood me not, for they thought it had been the Gentiles who were going to pull them out of darkness into light. They understood not. For they understood the Lord, Thoth, Melchizedek, not that the Gentiles should be converted by their teaching. So dark-skinned, melanated people, Jacob now, who have to change their name to Israel, you do not understand that you have to change your name and start preaching to the Gentiles because you are ordained to do it. You understand not, you understood not, but now you have to get your understanding back and get it. In fact, you are the teachers that are supposed to get your light and make it be a light unto all nations, including the Gentiles and their nations. Genesis 32 verse 28, because I want you to understand me now. Thy name shall be called no more Jacob, but Israel, which is a code name for Lewis. It's talking about a man who should get this name change and pass the name change down to all his people, which are of his complexion, of his race, of his spiritual awakening first, and then move it out to the rest of the world. So let me read it again. According to how you are going to get that same name change as a result of Lewis passing it on to you. Thy name shall be no more called Jacob, but Israel, for as a prince, as thou hast power with the Most High and with men. Lewis has the power with the Most High, Lord Thoth, Melchizedek, and he has power with men. And you are going to be a part of that energy of Israel, of Lewis. You will also gain the power with the Most High and with men. You're going to teach all these men who haven't changed their names and draw themselves to the energy of Lewis, Israel. So that's why I'm telling you, you need to change your name and become Israel. You read the Bible, how many times do they mention Israel? Israel this, Israel that, Israel. We didn't know who Israel was. We didn't even know who Jacob was. But now I can tell you who they are. So you can no longer be in confusion. You have to change your name from Jacob. Jacob is your name during the days of darkness, the time of night, which is the last 2,000 years or so. Now this spiritual awakening is coming to us, as in the Mayan prophecy. There's going to be a 2022 phenomenon, a change from darkness to light. Israel is that light, that's change that's coming. He's going to attach himself to that light. So you again have to change your name. Isaiah 14, verse 1, Isaiah 49, verse 6. I'll read those for you. For the Lord Thoth, Melchizedek, will have mercy on Jacob, the one that's still in darkness, the dark-skinned, melanated people that still hasn't gotten their spiritual awakening. He'll have mercy on you and will choose the spiritual righteous and set both Jacob and Israel in their own land in America. He's not going to take them to any distant place in Africa or in Europe or in Asia. Why? He has a huge landmass in America. That's where he's starting his campaign. America, which was old Egypt, which was old Atlantis, which is now becoming back the new Egypt, the new Atlantis, New Jerusalem. So that's going to be your land where Jacob and Israel shall rule, no matter who says what or think what. Whoever is on the land right now, trust me, they can't stop this from occurring. And strangers, the ones who are on the land right now, strangers, which means Gentiles, Esau, and any other nation that's controlled by the Gentiles and Esau, shall join together with them. They shall be a part of this if they've made themselves ready to accept that spiritual movement. They shall be part of it. The ones who say, nay, nah, can't say too much for your prosperity. But the ones who do of the Gentiles and the Esau's, which is the same group of people, with them shall be joined on that land. And they shall cleave, they shall hold on to loyally to Jacob and Israel once they join with Jacob and Israel. People, you have to know your father. You have to know the Lord Thoth. They tell you the ending from the beginning. They declare the end at the beginning. Before it occurs, they let you know. So the beginning of the story also has the ending of the story. So none of this is mystery. It's just that no one taught us how to read and figure out what's going on. We didn't do our own research to know what's going on. But this is the end. That's being told to you now. You'll be in your own land. The Gentiles are going to join with you, but you're going to rule over everything that's on that land. Gentiles are going to cleave to Jacob. Israel is going to be the rulers. Isaiah 49:6. And he said, it's a light thing. It's a spiritual thing, Jacob and Israel, that thou, Louis, should be my servant. Israel should be my servant that I raised up. He's telling you, Israel, which is first Louis, who is the king of Israel. He's now the prince, soon to be king of Israel, is going to be the servant. And the people that join with Louis will also be the servant because they're raised up. And they're raised out of the tribe of Jacob. They were once Jacob, and they rose up and became Israel. And the Lord will restore the name of Israel. And the people that still represent Israel, he'll restore them and preserve them now to be the true light. It's a light thing. It's not a darkness thing. It's a light thing. And I will give you, O Israel, for a light to the Gentiles. I'll give you Jacob because you're going to find your spiritual light. You might be going a little bit slower than Israel, but you will find that light. And that shall be a light unto the Gentiles as well. And you may know that you are the saviors, not someone else. The Lord Thoth is the chief in command of saving and the saviors. And he gave to those saviors the power within to they themselves became saviors of you, O Jacob, of you, O Gentiles, and of this planet from the fallen angels and their leader, Lucifer. And this shall be given and shall be done until the end of this age of darkness, which is coming up very shortly to move us now into light. 2 Ezra 6 verse 9 sums it up in one verse. And for Esau is the end of this old world of darkness, and Jacob is the start of the beginning of light, the one that comes after the age of darkness. Maya 2022, which is 2012 phenomenon in one verse. Yes, the world is going to end. The dark age world. The world of corruption, evil, wickedness, starvation, hating my neighbors, killing my neighbors, nuking them, vaccines, mandates. All of that is going to end. Where Jacob is always at the bottom, the footstool of everyone else. No, Jacob is rising to the top. He's going to become Israel. He's going to set up his own nation and bring peace to this entire planet. 2nd Ezra 6 verse 27, for evil shall be blotted out, and deceit, lies, hypocrisy, mischief shall be quenched. No more shall they be. Faithfulness shall rise, the righteous shall flourish, and corruption, I can't even begin to speak about corruption. If you look in all these smaller nations of Jacob and Israel, the Caribbean, South America, Central America, we take it outside of the Americas. You go to India, Pakistan, all the other smaller countries that are still within the Shemite locations. Corruptions run amok. But I'm here to tell you all of that shall be overcome because Israel is going to make sure that's blotted out. The Lord Thoth, Melchizedek, is going to make sure it gets blotted out. The Most High is going to root it out. And truth about who you are, about who is going to be in charge of all of this, shall now exist. Because you have been lied to. Jacob, Israel, you have been lied to. All the history of America, which you're in now, is not their history as they've given it to you. You were here first. It's your land. It was taken from you and you were given an African identity. But you're not from Africa. You're from here in America. When Verrazano first entered the American shoreline, all he saw, he kept seeing were black people. So you were here. Israel and Jacob, you were in Europe. You ruled Europe. Spain, Portugal, Italy, even Greece, Germany, Russia, Netherlands, Switzerland, Belgium. Oh, children of Israel, oh, house of Israel, you occupied those lands before any Gentiles, any Caucasians, any ESAU, any white people showed up. You're on that land. Don't forget France, which connected us also to Britannia. Britannia, who's there? England, Ireland, Scotland, Wales. All dark-skinned people that were there. All of the last 2 tribes that were not in the fourth part. The fourth part is America. 2.5 tribes still existed in North Africa, Western Europe, and the Britannia Islands. O house of Israel, house of Jacob, house of Judah, in order to unlock your identity and the fact that you were in Europe. We go to Acts 29, the chapter that was taken out of the book of Acts, to hide your identity in Europe. Verse 2, Paul says, certain of the children of Israel about the time of the Assyrian captivity had escaped by sea to an isle far off during the time when Egypt was being captured by the Assyrians. They escaped and they went to an isle far off, which the Romans called Britain. Acts 29 verse 13, and at the same time it came to pass that certain Druids, the Druids were black people, bearded men and women who had an ability to tell the future, and they had their own schools in England, Ireland, Scotland, and Wales. They were there. They came to Paul privately and showed him their rites, their customs, their traditions, their ceremonies, that they were descendants of the Jews. O house of Judah, You were in England, Ireland, Scotland, and Wales. You had escaped the captivity and the bondage in Egypt and found your way to the British Isle. O house of Jacob, house of Judah, house of Israel, you were there before anyone else. Let no one tell you otherwise unless they carry receipts to prove it. So don't let anyone tell you you were not in Europe. You were in Europe. You occupied Europe. You controlled Europe. You were the power in Europe until the Gentiles arrived. O house of Israel, house of Louis, house of Jacob, house of Judah. You are the people who ruled the planet before, and now you're moving back to the top to rule again in righteousness. This time, hopefully you've learned your lesson, and you sure have, that you won't do evil and walk away from the laws of the Most High and the Lord. You'll abide by the 12 laws, 2 statutes, and never walk away again from your 5 divine laws. O house of Israel, house of Jacob, change your name. The time is now. So yes, all the truth shall be known, which has so long been hidden from you. But it shall be revealed as I'm revealing things to you right now. And as Louis has been revealing to you right now. And as all the other children of Israel that are out there on the internet, giving you truth, which goes against what you've learned, and you've done your best to resist those truths. But they're going to keep bombarding you until you go do your own work to prove them wrong or right. And you'll end up proving them right once more. Psalms 147 verse 19, to show you who Israel and Jacob going to be. Because again, the Most High and the Lord declares the end at the beginning. You don't have to wait till the end to know the end. He already told you. He showeth his word unto Jacob, so Jacob shall know the gospel. Jacob might not be very versed in knowing the gospel, all that's in the Holy Bible or the Book of Mormon, but he knows there's something spiritual in it. But his statutes, which are his laws of how you should live your life, his judgment, which are his laws as well, shall be given unto Israel. That's the difference between Jacob and Israel. Statutes, no idol worshiping, no graven image, images of wood and stone, no molten image, images of metal, no Jesus statue, none. Nothing that you're going to set up and worship, no altar, no this, unless it's in and of the Most High. And the Most High had removed all priests of Israel off the land, so none of the statutes will be of God. You have to observe and honor the Sabbath, the 7th day of the week. You can't be Israel and claiming you're Israel and not following the statutes because it was given unto you. You have to follow his judgment. What is his judgment? His laws that he used to judge. First, you have to love. You have to have unconditional love for your fellow man and woman. And then with that unconditional love, you have to live by his 5 divine law, which is the cross philosophy. You are the cross. Your head, your moral connection to the Most High and the Lord. Your left hand is your social power, your social unity, your social oneness of people in the name of the Most High with righteousness. Your right hand are laws that you're going to pass as part of that social community that are righteous law, that's fair and just to everyone. Your feet, your economics, everything that you used to sustain yourself should be from the earth. And whatever you use from the earth, you have to replenish it. But you have to do righteous things with what you're extracting from the earth. Can't be doing it and using it for evil. And the center of your cross, that's your chest, your stomach, which is your diet and the food you eat, has to be Genesis 1 verse 29. green herbs, green trees, green fruits, all have seeds, shall be your meat. That's Israel. So if you're claiming you're Israel and you're not following those basic 7, the 5 divine and the 2 statutes, because I haven't even gotten into the 7 principles of Thoth. I'll tackle that in another message. But if you're not doing the 5 divine laws and those 2 statutes, you need to have a deeper look at yourself, O Israel, if you're claiming you're Israel, because you all are once you've made that name change. But now you have to live by the law and the order that's associated with that name change. O Israel. Psalms 147:20. The Lord Thoth has not dealt with any other nations in giving them name change. He has not dealt so with any of the nation. So if you're clinging on to the Gentiles now to save you in what's coming, you are making a sad, frustrating, and regretful mistake. Because no nations except the nation of Israel and Jacob was given this order of the gospel, statutes, and judgment. And as for his judgment, they have not been known to those nations. They didn't know and they didn't follow the 5 divine law in the righteous way. They used it, turned it into an evil way to inflict you, Jacob, during the time of darkness. They didn't use the principles of Thoth righteously. They used it to do wickedness as well, because they were all being instructed on how to use it by Lucifer and the fallen angels. So they did not use it in the righteous way it should have been used. Praise ye, O my Lord Thoth, to now bring back the gospel to Jacob, the statutes and the judgment to Israel. That's why I'm telling you, you need to change your name. Jeremiah 31:31. And behold, the day, which is also, again, from what we have talked about, the day is a spiritual awakening, Aquarius. The day shall come, saith the Lord Thoth, Melchizedek, that I will make a new agreement, a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah. Judah is one tribe out of Israel. Why is he making a separate rule, a separate law, a separate agreement with Judah? Hebrew 8, I won't even read it. It's saying the same thing as what Jeremiah 31:31 is saying. All I'm showing is that Hebrew in the New Testament, it lifts the information out of the Old Testament and it codes it the same way. Jeremiah, you see 31:31, Hebrews 8:8. It's coding it the same way. Do you know why the numbering are the same? Do you know the meaning of the number? Do your Gentile pastors and priests and all your organized religion leaders are able to tell you what those numbers are? Do pastors, no matter what color they are, in those churches are able to tell you what those numbers are? Because the Most High tells you, my temple is not a building. My temple is built without hands. There shall be not one stone left standing of that temple that is built by hands and stone. Are your pastor is able to give you truth as the Most High wants you to get truth at this point in time? That's why I'm pointing out to you, there's a numbering pattern, meaning to the chapters and the verse numbers. 31, 3 and 1 added together, that's 4. On the other side, 31 again added together, 2 4s, add them together, you get 8. That's why you have Hebrews 8:8. For those who want to know how numbers and how the Kabbalah connects with your Bible. Judah, why there's a separate new agreement with Judah, because Judah is the light. Numbers 2 verse 9 gives you Judah's number count. Again, that's why I gave you the number breakout for Hebrews 8:8, Jeremiah 31:31. because numbers are all over your Bible. Anytime you see numbers, it's telling you something. You just have to dig now, O Israel, and find out what those numbers mean. Numbers 2 verse 9, if you add up all the numbers for the tribe count of Judah, it's not the number of people in there. The count comes up to 186,400. What's the significance of that? For those who are physics wizards, you know that the speed of light is 186,400. So it's telling you Judah is moving, his thought is at the speed of light. He is the light. That's why a different covenant is needed with Judah. Judah is the elect. Judah has a special work to do. O house of Israel, O tribe of Judah. I won't go into what you have to do today, but we'll continue with that on another time and message. Jeremiah 31:33, Hebrews 8:10, they're saying the same thing again, lifted from Old Testament to New Testament. But this shall be a covenant that I will make with the house of Israel. After those days, after the end of time, after Esau world has crumbled, and Jacob now is the new world, I shall make that agreement which say, I will put my law in the inner parts of Jacob and Israel. What does that mean? What inner parts are you talking about? Within you, it always say go within, because the kingdom of the Most High is within you. What is that kingdom? Is power. 2 Timothy 1 verse 7, where it says, the Most High did not give you the spirit of fear. What it says the Most High gives you: love, power, and a sound mind. 3 things, 3 characteristics of the Most High is given unto you. And when the Most High created you in your spiritual form, Genesis 1 verse 27, he created you with that power, the willpower and the creative power. He created man and woman, male, which is the masculine power, the willpower, which is the I, and female, which is the creative power, the me. The Most High created man and woman with that ability, that power, the I and the me, will and create. In Genesis 2 verse 7, he created you, man and woman, in physical form. In Genesis 5 verse 2, he created you, male and female, with the willpower, that's the male, the masculine power, and the female, which is the creative power, the feminine power, the I and the me again. So in both forms, your spiritual form and your physical form, you have that willpower and that creative power. And what you have to do now as Israel is to bring them together, the physical and the spiritual, as one, combine them as one, so you have one strong willpower, one strong creative power, joining your I and your me in one. That's your Genesis back to your Revelation. You create in Genesis, in Revelation, you recreate that creation, bringing your spiritual self and your physical self together as one. One willpower, one creative power. That's why the inner part is the willpower of the Most High, the creative power of the Most High. For those who are familiar with the Kabbalah, it will tell you about the I and the me. The I is the willpower. The me is your creative power. The I is what you think. You think it up. That's the will. You draw that will in now to say, go create it with the me. That's your creative power that it's handed off to. But you have to first have a thought of righteousness, then move to create that righteous thought with your creative power. And with that, you control every cause and effect that comes into your life. For every cause, there's an effect. For every effect, there's a cause. So even though it starts bad, you can make that change. Change any one of them, the cause or the effect, to be righteous, it will trickle down to the next reiteration of cause and effect. That's the inward power, so you can create anything you want now with righteousness. You have those within you. Now you're going to explore it. The new agreement brings you back to it. You will have that in your hearts, and you shall be the people of the Lord Thoth, Melchizedek, and the people of the Most High. Hebrew 8 verse 10 is saying the same thing. Same thing it's saying. I won't repeat it, but what I'll tell you, the number again, they all tie back. 3, 31, 3 plus 1 is 4. 33, that's 6. 6 and 4 is 10. That's the 10 right there. You see Hebrew 8:10. How do you get the 8? 31. 3 and 1 is 4. 4 and 4 is 8 if you double it up. That's the numbering of the verses. So when you're reading verses and chapters in your Bible, they have meaning. Just the number themselves, they have meaning. Genesis has 32 chapters, the 32 letters of the Hebrews. 32 in the Kabbalah, Sifa, Yetzirah. It's the way in which Hoa, Ketha, creates in the finite world, the world of formation, how that power creates from an infinite space and realm into a finite space and realm. 32, that's Alpha. Revelation has 22 chapters, the 22 of the Kabbalah. It's the 10 Sephiroth, the formation of how to create, matched with the 12 spiritual channels in the bodies of man and woman. Also with the 12 spiritual cranial nerve in the top of your head, which is called your crown chakra. 22 in the Kabbalah. That's the Omega. I am Alpha. I am Omega. I am the beginning and the end. All summed up in Genesis, Revelation, 32, 22 in the Kabbalah. We go to the book of Thoth himself that he wrote and he left for us. So we're going outside of the Bible to show you what he's telling you is within his other bodies of work. Emerald tablets, tablet 15 is an excerpt, secrets of secrets. 3 are the natures of your mind, the carrier of the will of the Great One, the Most High Allah. Arbitrator of cause and effect in your life. That's why when he says, I'll put in your mind, in your inner parts, that's what it means. I'll write in your heart. Your heart is your mind, your thoughts. I'll get to that. And in Hebrews 8, where it says, I'll write in your mind, that's what he's referring to. Your mind, the nature of your mind. It's the carrier of the will of the Father. You have that will in you. Don't you know I am within you and you're within me? That's what the Most High is telling you. I give you the power to arbitrate, to settle, to decide any cause and effect that you need in your life. But I want you to create good cause, righteous cause and effect in your life. Thus is formed the threefold person that you are. 3, the triangle in the Kabbalah. 3, Ketha, Chakma, Bina. 3, Father, Son, Holy Spirit. 3, air, water, fire. 3 is the nature of you, O house of Israel, house of Jacob, tribe of Judah. 3 always is the characteristics of you, directed from above. I'll stop there with that, and I'll jump over to telling you in the mind, when you see hearts, in anywhere in the Bible, it's talking about your mind, your thoughts. The mind, the heart of the ancient, that's how they wrote. So when you see heart, it's talking about the mind. Let's move on to your riches, because I've spent enough time talking about Jacob and Israel. how you need to change that name to collect this riches. There's a whole bunch of things waiting for you, and you don't have to leave this planet to get it. It's right here. The transition has to occur from darkness to light, and you have to now, who can do it, change the name from Jacob to Israel. If you can change your name at some point in time, it will be changed. Behold, the days are coming. This is a good part. And the scrolls will be open. What scrolls? The scroll that contain all the sins of those who have sinned. It shall be open. Don't feel you're doing all these things and no one is taking tabs. No one is counting. It's being counted. Can't lie later on you didn't do it. Someone is checking it off as you do it. But also that shall be open. The treasuries of the Most High shall be open, and it shall be brought to those who did righteousness, those who realized they were sinning. They heard the messages of all the messengers of Israel, of Judah that came and said, nah, change where you're going. You can't get into the righteousness and the righteous heaven and the righteous treasury if you're going in that direction. Change your name. So these treasuries with your name on it shall be made ready and waiting for you. And all those who have proven themselves to be righteous shall have their access to their treasury. Your Father has deposited a whole bunch of things in your name. He's just waiting for you to show that you're ready for it. You just got to prove yourself. Say, Father, I'm not going to do all this nonsense I used to do anymore. Partying, clubs, liquor, chasing women, going to all kind of different places that I shouldn't be, smoking, doing gambling, illegal stuff, all kind of different things. I'm going to cut that out. I'm going to go to somewhere now within myself where I say, you know what, I'm better than that. I'm going to do good things that's going to help my fellow brothers and sisters who don't have it or who need help, who just need a voice. I'm going to help. I'm going to share what I have with others who don't have. I'm going to start professing peace instead of warring and fighting and being angry all the time and upset and carrying grudge and malice and hate. No, I'm going to drop that. I'm going to forgive all those who have done crap against me. And I'm going to say, you've been forgiven because the Father has forgiven me. And then I'm going to move in the way the Father wants me to move. I'm going to move like the Father. That's how you prove yourself. So these treasuries can be opened to you. And that scroll won't have your name on it no more. 2 Baruch 14, verse 12 and 13. For the righteous, this is the righteous I'm talking about, they possess with the Most High a store, a trailer load, a bag full, a house full, a crocus bag full of moral right, moral works, which is preserved in the spiritual realm, waiting for them. That's their spiritual riches. So people in America, North America, Central America, Caribbean, rest of the world, this is all for you as well. There is these blessings waiting for you to collect. A crocus bag of things are wait upon you. The Father declared the end at the beginning. So he's telling you the end here. What's waiting for you, where wait upon you, for you to do the right thing, for you to do the right thing, to collect it so you can get it. Therefore, they who are confident that the Father has really left those things for them, who believe the Father's words, they are confident of the world which is promised to them. Not of any doubt. You're not in a doubt. There's no doubt. Nope. You know that the Father told the end at the beginning, so you know you don't have to worry. This is going to happen. And you expect it with great joy because you know the Most High not lie. The Lord not lie. He's incapable of telling lies. So he has to put the truth in his messengers, which gave us this message. And now I'm giving it to you. Confident that the world is promised to you, is there waiting for you, and you expect it with full joy and happiness within. 2 Baruch 44, that's the world, part of it, that the Most High has waiting for you. There's many more of it, but I'm highlighting these for you. For if you endure and preserve in his fear, not fearing him and afraid, no, fear means respect. That's the other meaning for fear. Reverence him. Preserve in your reverence of him, and do not forget his laws, the ones that I just gave you. The time shall change over you for good, and you shall see the semblance, the bringing together of Zion, the spiritual kingdom, which cometh after America has fallen. And for that which is now nothing, because they call us nothing now, you're dark skin, you're black, nothing. You own nothing, you're worth nothing, you are accepted as nothing. But that's in ESAU world. And that's not the world we're talking about. We're talking about our Father's world. But that which is in the future. And you shall be very great. You will be very great in your Father's world. Because everything that is corruptible will pass away, and everything that dies shall depart, and all the present time shall be forgotten. You won't remember it. You won't remember them. Me no remember them or who them. Nor shall there be any remembrance of the present time. You won't remember any of this. You'll look back and say, I can't believe we went through that time, but we're not going to spend any time remembering it, because that time was polluted with evil of the Luciferic beings, the fallen angels, and the influence they had on the Gentiles made it evil. For he who runs now, you're running in vain. You can't run away from what's coming. You cannot, no matter how fast you run or where you want to run and hide. And he that prosper now, enjoy it, because it's gone. It shall vanish, and you shall be eliminated, humiliated. For that which is in the future, that's what we look forward to. We're not looking forward to now, what you're giving us, all these various restrictions and this and that. No, we're looking forward to the future, because our Father already told us the future at the beginning. For that which cometh forth, that's what we hope for. We're not hoping for your stuff to survive and go back to normal, where we're at the bottom. We're not looking to go back to normal. The normal means we're at the bottom. We're nothing. Why would we want to go back to that when our Father is telling us that's done? Time for you to be very great. Why am I looking to go back to that? Help me make sense of it. For that time, you, O house of Gentiles, O house of Lucifer, shall pass away. But our time shall not pass away. Our time is coming, because the hour comes which we shall abide forever. We shall live forever. We shall live in that time where time doesn't age us. And the new world that comes, the new heaven, the new earth, the new Jerusalem, the Zion that comes, which does not turn to corruption. All of that corruption gone. No more of that. Everybody living as one. Everybody have enough. Everybody rich in the blessings of the Father. Those who depart in blessings will get their blessings. Mercy to those who depart in torment? No mercy to them, because they tormented us now. They called us nothing, and they did not repent in time and on time to move over, to be taught by Jacob, Israel, Judah. They did not. They walked away from it. And it led them into their perdition. Perdition means their end, their demise. But the world we're moving in doesn't lead us to perdition. It leads us to righteousness, blessings, and abundance. For these are those who will inherit this time that is coming, that our Father has told us from the beginning, which he declared in the ending at the beginning. And their inheritance is what's promised to them. And the Father is going to deliver on that promise. No way he's not going to deliver on his promise. He doesn't take back and change words like how the Gentiles and America has broken every promise that they had made with the Hebrew Indians of this country. And every other country, promise is broken every time. No more of that promise breaking, because the time is promised to us and our Father doesn't lie. He doesn't lie. He doesn't tell things that he cannot deliver on. He tells you exactly what you need to do. Once you do it, it is yours. These are they who acquired for themselves knowledge beyond knowledge, wisdom beyond wisdom, understanding beyond understanding. And you're going to see all the technology, the ones of righteousness developed after this planet is cleared of all the evil ones who use the technology for war, killing, starvation, famine, hurting their neighbors. When they're gone, technology flourish. That little silly phone you have in your hand. Why do you need a phone when you can speak to anyone across the entire planet telepathically? Why do you need that when you can speak to other people on other planets, other galaxies telepathically? Why you need a phone? Why you need fossil fuel and gasoline when your car and your vehicles can move on the magnetic wave that's all around you? Why do you need that? Why do you need to pay electricity when the sun can provide you all the heat, all the electrical needs that you need? But we have to get these guys, these folks who are holding up progress out of here to get all of that technology released to everyone free of cost. And with them are found stores. We covered stores a while ago, right? The same thing come back. Trailer load, crocus bag, whole heap of things of understanding waiting for you. Our little children can learn truth and become the geniuses they are and to become. And from the mercy won't be withdrawn from them. Mercy on top of mercy for Jacob, for Israel, for Judah, and the Gentiles who cleaved on to Jacob, Israel, Judah. And the truth of the law, the 12 laws, 2 statutes, with love and in love, shall be preserved in them. They shall know it, practice it, obey it, and flourish. For to them, to Israel, Jacob, Judah, Gentiles who cleaved on to Israel, Jacob, Judah, shall be given the world to come. If you decide you want to go still by your own idea, your own opinion, your own self-conceit, your own vanity, your own vain things and thoughts, go right ahead, because your dwelling, your resting place shall be in the fire. Red Kachina, spoiler, destroyer, all yours if you don't want to move into that new kingdom, that new movement that's coming. The Father is going to deliver on his promise of that new kingdom. He promised it. He won't turn back, no matter what or who think they can do about it. People, it's inevitable. It cannot be stopped. The train has already left the station. No one can stop it. It shall happen. It will happen. It has already happened. In higher dimension, it already occurred. It's just being pushed down into our physical third dimension. It's done. It's signed, sealed, delivered. Nothing can change it. Oh, the kingdom shall be here, in earth and on earth as it is in heaven. Can't stop it. You can be a part of it, or you cannot be a part of it if you choose not to. But for you, available, perdition, destruction, and in the fire. 2 Baruch 44, verse 7 through 15. Read it, O Israel, O Jacob, O Judah. This is waiting for you. Change your name. Exodus 16 verse 4. And the Lord will rain down this blessing that I'm telling you. Rain it down on you. You shall get that blessing. No one can stop it. And it will increase year after year after year. But it kickstart and in high gear, 2021, high gear, 2022. Every year it shall double. So whatever righteousness, whatever energy you are drawing in 2021, it doubled in 2022. Whatever you're pulling in 2022, it doubled in 2023. And so on and so on and so on. 2 Baruch 29 verse 8, and it will happen at the time of the treasury of manna from heaven, bread from heaven will come down again from the high places. Two scripts saying the same thing. Spiritual energy coming down, raining on you. Spiritual energy, manna coming down, raining on you to start your blessings, to start your reward, to start your riches. What are you going to do when you get that? First, you shall walk in the law. Keep going back to that. Law of love. To practice the 5 divine law, make it a part of your life. The 7 principles of Thoth, make it a part of your life. Start the basic with vibration and rhythm. Vibration, vibrate at a higher rate and get into a pattern of keeping that vibration and doing the things over and over and over that keep you in a right vibration. Vibration and rhythm. And practice those 2 statutes for those who are now working in ESAU and the Gentile world that have you working on Saturdays. Bear with it. But know in your hearts, which is your mind, that you are honoring and observing the Sabbath within your means. That's good enough for now. 2 Baruch, you will eat. Not asking, say, maybe you're going to eat. You could be eating. Nah, you're going to eat in those years. 2022 to 2026, you're going to eat belly full. And it's going to continue to increase after. But that's the period in which that changeover from Esau to Jacob has to happen. From darkness to light has to happen. And now your new covenant has to come into play. So you will eat until the time your new covenant starts. Because it's the consummation of time. It's the end of time now. And your energy is picking up while Esau and the Gentile energy is going down. That's what's happening right now. Those who believe, I say it again, those who believe will receive their reward. And I'll bring this message to an end here. We'll continue with the rest of this message because I'm not done yet with your reward. But I'm going to leave it right here. Those who believe, see you in the next message where we continue this reward. Stand strong. Be strong. Stay strong, O Israel, O Jacob, O Judah, in the name of the Most High, Allah, Yah, Yod, He, Va'u, He, Elohim, God in our modern day name, and in the name of the Lord Thoth, Melchizedek, Jehovah. Praise be unto you always.